So glad to have you here at Inform Your Communities event today. This is part of our Craftivism series where we talk about, um, like I said, interesting topics, but also we learn a technique. So we're so excited to have us here today. You can visit us at www.informyourcommunity.org, and you can find our social media links at the bottom of that page. Feel free to like and subscribe. And of course, you can donate to help support this event, which is free, and we ship free, and the craft kit is free. So we always appreciate that. If you're watching a recording of this video on YouTube, please feel free, again, to like, subscribe, comment. And we'd love to hear what you think of our crafts and activities and events. So at the end of the event, hopefully we'll have some time to allow you to kind of show your screen. But otherwise, you can always send us or post and tag us to see what you've made today. So this event, like I said, is part of our Craftivism program. And this is an adult crafting program, not necessarily meant for children. Our topic today is Black Lives Matter. And we are going to be talking about some history and other relevant topics related to that. And Black Lives Matter is a movement that is advocating against violence inflicted on those from Black communities by those with power. Black Lives Matter protests occurred worldwide, especially sparked through the death of George Floyd in 2020, although the movement began earlier in 2013 after the shooting death of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin. Clearly, it's important to educate people on this topic. It's one a lot of people know about by name, but don't really know what it's all about. When we talk about this topic, we want to reference the term Black and BIPOC, which are terms for people. BIPOC is a term for people who identify as Black, Indigenous, or a person of color. And throughout this craft, if you have any questions or comments, or just want to say hi, like somebody just did in the chat, hi to you too, please feel free to unmute yourself or to make a comment in the chat. Feel free to use emojis as well. And we are so excited today to have Michael Brown with us. Michael Brown is many wonderful things, and he uses he pronouns, and he's here to help us co-facilitate today. Michael is an accomplished business person and civic leader. He has co-founded, led, and advised for organizations that have left a lasting and continue to leave a lasting imprint on communities and lives. Like, we're so grateful to have you here. At the heart of all of what he does is his unwavering commitment to the mission to do all the good he can, and for as many people as he can, and in as many places as he can, for as long as he can. So I wish we could all say that about ourselves, Michael. It would take an hour to tell you all of his accomplishments, so I can't do that right now. But you can look at some of those in the bio in the event description that is available on Eventbrite. So take some time and check out all of the wonderful things that Michael is. So we're grateful to have you. Also, Tyler is here to help us with our tech issues. So if you need help, you can go ahead and say something to Tyler in the chat. Tyler will be happy to help, and we'll monitor as we go along throughout the craft. If you have any questions, like I said, just let us know. And without further ado, I'd love to introduce you to Stacy, who is our expert crafter today. Stacy is going to help us learn how to make art collages. That's our technique for today. So, Stacy, would you mind telling us a little bit more about why you chose this craft?
Sure. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Stacy. My pronouns are she and her. I'm a white woman with curly brown hair. My shirt is gray and my background is blurred. I chose this craft because we just celebrated Black History Month and Juneteenth isn't too far away. It's a great time to learn about Black Lives Matter and Black Lives history in general and have an item to display in our home to commemorate the holiday and the movement. So going forward, I'm going to show you, if you have our kit, we will be making our collage with materials related to the topic of Black Lives Matter. When I reflect on Juneteenth, which is coming up in a couple of months on June 19th, I think about other holidays that have been around longer and that people are more familiar with, and think about how many people still are not familiar with what Juneteenth is. So Juneteenth commemorates when the slaves in Galveston, Texas learned they were free. These free people were the last to find out that they were freed because remember, there was no internet, no cell phones or Instagram at that time. So even though 1863 Emancipation Proclamation freed them, they weren't made aware of it until it was enforced on June 19th, 1865. So now we celebrate that day as Juneteenth, as the day all slaves were freed.
And I might add, and it's sometimes represented by two fists with broken chains. Now, the important thing about the fist is that the five fingers separate us and are not as strong as when they are together. And that's why you fold them into a fist. But not a lot of people know what the image means outside of the Black or African American communities.
That's exactly why I'm glad we're doing this event. Information is so important to help us understand what we don't know, especially about groups that we aren't a part of or time periods we weren't around for. So I'm going to move on to the materials for our craft. Everyone is going to need scissors and a pen or marker, which are optional if you want to add words or drawings to your collage. So in our kit, you will find, for those with our kit, you're going to find a magnet, white double-sided adhesive that looks like a thick piece of paper. You also have colored paper in red, yellow, blue, and green. There. You have a book page here from Abraham Lincoln's writing. And you also have a piece of newspaper with that's free for you to choose to use for your collage. You have artwork, which are the large postcards, and this is the magnet, as you can see. So the large postcards, a Malcolm X photo by Carrie Mae Weems, and a JFK photo by Gary Winogrand. You also have some magazine pieces, again, just for some variability. And you have some embellishments that have been given to you for some add-on. If you do not have our kit, a magnet is optional, or cardstock, cardboard, or other thick piece of paper to be used as a base. The base in collage making is known as a substrate. If you have some form of adhesive, you don't necessarily need the double-sided, but a glue stick is ideal because it won't get paper wet when you are layering, or some other form of adhesive. Colored construction paper works ideally for this craft in red, yellow, green, or blue. As a source of text for some text, a piece of newspaper would work, a page from a magazine, a page from an inspiring book that words might pop out for you, that you might find some inspiration, could be printed from online as well. As a source of images, something, for your focal point, Black Lives Matter, Kwanzaa, Africa, Caribbean, Indigenous, civil rights, other related imagery to go along with the Black Lives Matter topic would be ideal for a photo source. Magazine images can also be used, old postcards, printouts, old greeting cards even. Various scrapbooking embellishments, you have a lot of flexibility here. Any items that you have to maybe some stickers or ribbons or applique can be used for embellishments later. So just to give you an idea as you're gathering your materials of what we will be making, this is a finished collage. An idea, and here is also another one. So sorry if everyone can see that. That is an idea. So as you're gathering after you've gathered your materials, it's important to collect and sort them. So we are going to look for words or phrases in your reading that you may want to highlight. You're going to words that might tell a story for your collage. You're going to sort your colors, possibly from like lightest to darkest for a color scheme. You're going to brainstorm as you have all your images around you, a loose idea, and find your focal point utilizing something that's called the rule of thirds. Feel free to research this some more as you delve into more collage making. But a simple definition is you're dividing your image into 9 equal squares and on your base. And you're going to, by using horizontal and vertical lines, and you're going to place your focal point at those intersections. It creates a more balanced composition. So think about finished, um, the finished look as you're gathering your materials. Think if you want to cut or use an X-Acto knife for more precise cutting. Do you want to rip your edges as they are ripped here to give a more angry, dramatic look? You can also take your paper that you choose, your newspaper or your writings, and crumple it to give some feeling. Crumpled paper will give like a more frustrating feeling. So just to note, as you are gathering, we are not physically cutting anything just yet. We're simply looking at our materials, gathering them, and gathering our materials and thoughts.
So now, while everyone gathers their materials, let's get down to a few matters. I think there are some basic terms that people may not be aware of that would be useful to know while we're talking today, and they all center around the idea of racism. Stacy, did you know that there were different types of racism?
I have heard of different types, but sometimes I get confused. I'm not sure um, I'm the only one on that. So can you tell us about them?
I'll tell you about the three types that we've often talked about. There's individual racism, which involves personal prejudice related to someone's race. There is structural racism, which involves a system-wide exclusion, oppression, or inequality. And then there's institutional racism. That involves individuals who carry out those practices and policies. Either or together lead to this racial ethnic profiling, which can often lead to what we call the talk, which is when Black families may have, which includes what Black families may have with their children in hopes to prepare them. The talk is our discussion, especially with our sons, but it's about the world as it is and the rules for living. For example, keeping your hands out of your pocket when you're in a store, or always make sure to remove the head covering on a hoodie. Or, in the off chance that you are pulled over by police, there's a don't do list in order to survive the altercation and to keep things from escalating.
That's why being actively anti-racist is so important.
But very much so. Now, you're going to tell us about what anti-racist means, right?
Absolutely. Yes, definitely. Being anti-racist means proactively and ideally preventatively identify racism and racist actions or potentially racist actions to enable and establish equity and equitability, share power amongst racial groups. If there is an unspoken burden on Black families to have the talk, there is also a burden on non-Black families to have the anti-racist talk. It's not enough to not be a racist, but also we should not seem racist, and we should be aware of what can be interpreted as racist, and we should actively avoid doing things that are racist. And we should strive to do these things regardless of whether we view ourselves as racist or not.
You know, those are words potentially. That's really important, right, Stacy?
Yes, because we may not No, 100%. Sometimes if what we're saying could be racist,
Yeah.
or be considered as racist by someone else, but we should strive to avoid it. Um, so with that, I'm actually going to move on to step one of our craft. So we are going to start with our magnet if you have our kit, or your cardstock if you don't have our kit. And so we're going to take our magnet, or the side that you want to glue on your cardstock. And for the magnet, we're going to use the colored side. I have found the best way to use the adhesive is to peel away a corner first, and then peel away just a little bit of it, and take that corner and put that face down. Line it up with the corner. Oh, sorry. Look at this. On one of the corners here. Because if you peel the whole thing away, you're going to be left with a very thin piece of adhesive, and it's very hard to line up. So as you can see, I just have it kind of stuck there. And then from underneath, what I'm going to do is pull this away. And as I'm pulling, I'm going to line it up here on the magnet. And this is it, as you can see here. It didn't line up completely, but that's okay. That's why later on, maybe what's not covered, we can use some embellishments for. And as you're pulling away, you're just gonna get any wrinkles or kinks out as you're pulling away the adhesive piece. Sorry, the paper piece of the adhesive. And there's a little piece that did not pull away from me. Great. So we're not peeling away the top layer just yet because we're not ready to stick all of our items onto here. So if you don't have our kit, what you want to do is take your piece of cardstock and glue it to your base with your glue stick or glue. And just lay that then right on top. So if you had your piece of cardstock and you want to just glue that, and you're going to take it and glue it to your base. So Michael, while our crafters are working on that, can you throw in some statistics so we sound a little more impressive?
I'd be happy to. While the Black Lives Matter movement has resulted in some really positive outcomes, it's important to note that more can always be done. 300 new police reform bills states have collectively approved since the death of George Floyd. In 2020, George Floyd's murder by a police officer was a spark for BLM movements and protests worldwide, though the movement actually began in 2013, 7 years earlier, after the shooting death of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin, which is mentioned earlier. Another really important outcome is the visibility of Black Lives Matter movement. A recent poll was done that showed 74% of adults in the United States acknowledge I can't say the word, systemic policing issues.
Wow, those are some important statistics. Thank you so much for sharing them, Michael.
Sure.
Okay, so we're going to move on to step two, which is as we start to build our collage, I strongly advise you to design it first without unpeeling this top double-sided adhesive or gluing your items down. Because then for right now, while you're thinking, maybe you want to shift things around, but once you stick them, they're stuck there and you need to start over. So important to keep in mind as you think about adhering and layering your image. If you have our kit, you will be laying your chosen images down directly on the adhesive base in sticky areas, not on top of one another unless you have a glue stick. And then at that point you can layer items and glue things on top of each other. If you do not have our kit, you will need to use your glue stick to lay items on your base, and you will have the added benefit then of layering or overlapping images. So as just to give you an idea, as you can see here, these items are not stuck together because they were just laid right on top of the double-sided adhesive. So pick one or both of the photo images that you want to highlight. Highlighting an image creates a strong focal point, which you can then add visual pizzazz to surround it and make it stand out. Some tips are you can use a larger item as your main focal point. So on to the next step. When you're ready and you have your focal point, you're going to cut or rip your photo and your color scheme and place it where you want on the design. So ideally, we're just going to be placing and then moving everything off and then sticking it. So you want to strategically place lighter and darker colors using contrasting and scaling techniques. So that means you place light colored elements against darker backgrounds. That controls the background by making the background seem less busy. You're going to control the background by making the background less busy and ensure the image doesn't get lost. So you want to choose your main focal point and don't let it get lost in your background. Another technique is scaling and perspective. That helps you manipulate the size of images and to make them seem near or far. So you're also going to then take your book pages. You're going to look for words that you want to stand out and use, whether you choose to highlight them first, or you can always add that later. Think about, like, do you want to highlight a whole sentence? Maybe there are some words that you want to cut and sprinkle throughout your design. And so you can, at this point, start ripping. So I see some that stand out to me. And I'm going to actually rip around here. I like ripping, and that's a dramatic effect that I like to use. So while our crafters are busy designing their collage, I want to talk about Black rights. These were hard won, as they say. So hard won means that they were gained by great effort. For example, it wasn't until the 15th Amendment in 1870, only about 150 years ago, and about 100 years after the United States was founded, that African American men were given the right to vote.
Take myself off of mute there because it's
Oh,
important to note that even after that, local and state laws still worked against those rights. And sometimes this still happens today. It's important to note also that only about 70 years ago in 1954, Brown versus the Board of Education mandated that all schools desegregate. That means that black kids and white kids were able to go to school together. Imagine, that was only 70 years ago.
wow. And it took another 10 years in 1964 for the Civil Rights Act to stop businesses from discriminating based on race, as well as other things like gender, too. So I have some cutting still to do here, but while everyone is cutting too, we can also look at our like newspaper clippings for some words or phrases that you want to stand out. So I hope many of you are cutting and layering. I just want to show. So here, I'm going to put some yellow there. This is a phrase that I like to use. You can also start to think too, it like here, I'm going to put there? Like, do I want to put some embellishments to maybe take over an area that maybe I didn't cover um, with some of my colors? And so my focal point here, I'm going to put right in the middle. And so you can start to kind of see, and this is the main reason why I suggest um, not using the glue immediately, because we can move some things around and kind of get a better idea of where we want um, our things to be. And then you can add touches of color. Actually put that along the bottom. Oh. So once you do have everything laid out the way that you want it to be, if you once you're finished, what we're going to do is take your completed collage, how you want everything to be, and you can actually take a photo of it if you really love it and don't want anything to be out of place. So you can take a picture of where you have everything placed before you move it off. So what we're going to do next is adhere or glue the images where you want them laid out on your design. So what I'm going to do is just kind of just move everything off to the side. And if you have our kit, what you're going to do next is unpeel the top layer of the double-sided adhesive. And it is a very thin, it looks clear underneath, so it may seem like there's nothing there. But there is a strip of adhesive. And if you don't have our kit, what you can do is use glue. And on the top of your base, as you can see, it's very thin. And you're going to pull the entire top piece of the adhesive off. Like that. And you're going to start to add the pieces of that you've cut to the adhesive base. So while our crafters are working on arranging their collage, I wanted to take a moment to tell everyone about some important people in Black history in the United States, who more recently have been visible for Black Lives Matter. So Rosa Parks, who you may know as the woman who refused to give up her seat on the bus for a white man. Martin Luther King Jr., who we celebrate every year for his work with peaceful protests like boycotts and marches. Malcolm X, who we may know. Colin Kaepernick, who for taking a knee in show of solidarity for victims of police brutality. John Legend, a musician you may be familiar with, who used his celebrity to raise awareness of Black Lives Matter movement. And of course, the people who started the Black Lives Matter movement are important too. Alicia Garza, Patrisse Cullors, and Opal Tometi. Of course, there are so many important people. So these are just a few we could highlight. Michael, can you tell us about some other important values related to Black Lives Matter and the Black community more generally?
Thank you, Stacy. Well, these events epitomize some of the values that we associate with Black Lives Matter and life in the Black community in general. We want to stress the importance of civil rights and the love and the reliance on community and feeling like you are valued and appreciated in what is a diverse society.
there are a few other values too. There is the idea of being unapologetically Black, which refers to that a Black person can be authentic, true to themselves, and not require permission to be themselves. For example, in 2019, the Crown Act became law and allows a person to wear their hair in a manner they choose. I bet some folks on our call can't imagine not being able to wear any hair they choose.
Also excellence. And excellence is something I speak about around the country. Excellence has always been an expectation and especially became a value as a result of systemic racism. We believe that you have to work twice as hard to get half as far. We believe things like we don't choose to be good when great is available. We have to strive for excellence. We value excellence and we value education equally. And also we have a strong desire for justice. And I have a great statistic for you, Stacy. Are you ready?
Yes.
The great majority, that is about 93% of racial justice protests, have been peaceful. Despite what you may hear otherwise, they have been peaceful in the US. And that's a big percent considering that less than a 2 week period between May 26th, 2020 and June 7th of 2020, thereabouts, uh, during the height of the Black Lives Matter movement, there were about 140 protests a day for race, all highlighting the need for racial justice.
Wow. Well, well, that is just is the end of our craft.
Oh, boy, Stacy did. No, no, you just didn't. All right.
um, yes, I did. Just adding some embellishments here as, and I am using my glue so you can kind of see that. Yeah, because I didn't have any more of the adhesive left. So there is mine. And if willing, show us your finished product, or you can post it on our social media pages. We'd love to see them. You can find links for that in the chat. You can also email images to info@informyourcommunity.org. I hope you enjoy this beautiful collage. Please note too that with collage making, you can mix media. So if you do want to add some paint on your collage, you can do that. Like in areas, you can take your pen, you can write phrases or draw in the areas too that are maybe some blank space. You can do a lot with collage making. So I do hope that you enjoy this beautiful collage and craft as much as I have.
Thank you so much, Stacy and Michael, for your work on this. I don't know if you can see oh, look, there we go. You can see mine.
Beautiful.
Hey,
I'm
nice.
still
Yeah,
working on it. I'm gonna cover that up over there. And I got some really cool quotes. I'm gonna cover this up over here too, but got some
great.
interesting stuff there. Thank you. And I have some more words that I'm planning to use. So
Awesome.
I got into this one. Thank you, folks.
Yeah.
So thank you for this important discussion about Black Lives Matter. Thank you for all of you who are here as well. And our wonderful crafters, so appreciated. It's so exciting to learn this technique. We hope you enjoyed this craft project and that you'll continue to learn and take this discussion further about Black Lives Matter. We will help you to do that by sending you access to. Oh, thank you so much. See that in the chat. That's great. So much. We're going to send you our access to our event video and our infographic. You also got the infographic in your kit as well if you received that, but it's also available on our website, and we'll send that to the folks who have registered. And we encourage you to take a look at those and to share those with others. We also ask you to consider committing to some weekly action to raise awareness about issues related to Black Lives Matter. This is a great way to start by coming to this event, but other things you can do is to research Black history and the origins of the Black Lives Matter movement, including some of those founders that we talked about previously. You might also want to say their names, which is the expression that's often used. The idea is to talk about and never forget the lives of Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Eric Gardner, Sandra Bland, and so many others that helped to spark this movement as well. And of course, acknowledge the importance of Juneteenth with others in some way, even if you're not in the BIPOC community, but to be aware of what Juneteenth means and why it's important. We're going to put up a poll for you if you don't mind. I'm seeing some lovely messages in the chat. If you don't mind taking our poll as well, that would be great. So I'll give you a minute to do that. While I finish my product, my own.
Yours is great.
Thank you. I'm trying. I'm not done. I didn't get it done in time. I'm sure our folks that are here are working on theirs instead of doing our poll. Do our poll. You can work on this later. So glad. Wait, I'm almost. I got a few words on there on mine. So we are so grateful for you to be able to come here. Appreciate that you're taking the poll. Give you another minute to work on that.
Someone had put that they don't see the poll.
Yes, if you can't see the poll, do let us know. And also just mention, oh, somebody said they don't see the poll. Not sure, Tyler, if we can do something for that. It may be if you send your screen sideways. If you're on a phone, that may be something. Thank you folks for doing the poll. We really appreciate it. Thank you for saying this was fun and educational. Love the emojis. And so glad about the good information. Yes, we try. Thank you for coming. And we're going to tell you some more about our other events as well. I'll give you another minute because I know some people are just seeing that poll now. Also, just because I want time to work on mine, purely selfish.
There will be a poll in the email as well, correct?
It won't be the same poll anyway, so.
But like for anybody who's not getting the poll right now, they will have a poll.
Yeah, it should be the case. Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah.
So wonderful. Thank you again. So let me close this out here. Oh, I'm so glad you were able to do it. Fantastic. So our schedule for the year is posted online. It's on all of our events through the end of June, and there's about 15 different events there right now, most of which are events for adults. So please go check those out. We also have a children's crafting event as well. You'll see those events there. Remember that for any of the crafting events, adults or children's crafting events, you can only get the craft kit if you sign up for at least a week in advance, but you can always do these at home with your own materials. We'll let you know at the beginning of the event and also on Eventbrite what materials you would need for that. So please look for and learn more about IYC events and beyond just our Craftivism program, but you can find those at www.informyourcommunity.org. Our next event is on the topic of civil rights in music. And that's on April 2nd at 6:30. And that's a know-it-all event. So we'll have speakers there for that event. And if you're watching this again on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and comment. Please consider donating for our events as we are a donation-funded organization. So every bit helps, especially to keep our events free and the crafts coming for free. Thank you so much. Again, thank you to Michael. Thank you for Stacy. Thank you for Tyler. Appreciate you all being here, and thank you to our attendees. Have an absolutely wonderful night.